Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Friday, September 25th, 2020. We are in the final hour of the trading day and the final day of the trading week. I mention this each day, but the last hour of the day and the last few minutes of the day particularly are my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions, because at the end of the day, large financial institutions come in, they're dealing with the most money. They can take control of the pricing away from the day traders and the algorithms who could control it during the day. I consider them smart money, and I think there is an edge in following what they do at the end of the day. So thank you all for coming today. It's always nice to see everyone. I really appreciate you making time, investing your time here, and I hope it's helping you with your trading and your investing. We have a lot of green going on today. Dow Jones up 326 points, up 1.22%. The NASDAQ up 228 points, up 2.14%. And the S&P up 48 points, up 1.48%. So nice green day. All in all, I've looked through the board, and looks like everybody has some nice trades going on here, all in all. So, all right, here's the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. After that, I have had a couple day trades. I'm going to share those with you. Then we're going to go through the board and take a look at the positions on the boards, which are your positions, and we're going to see how those are doing, and they look like they're doing pretty well. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about trader psychology and the importance of it. Most important skill you can learn in trading, everybody. It really, really is. That's why I like to touch on it every day. After that, we are going to go down. I've gone down through my watch list. I've also gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner. And I have 3 requirements whenever I look to enter a trade. First requirement has to have a good confluence or combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames. Ideally, I look at each indicator such as MACD, RSI, moving averages. I look at those as groups of buyers, and you're going to put yourself in the position to have the best possible position to have a profitable trade if you're within the company with as many other buyers as possible. So that's how I try to achieve that. After that, it is also important that you analyze the risk to reward. You can have a really good setup with a lot of good confluences, but it may not offer you a good risk to reward ratio. And risk to reward ratios are so important in trading. They really are. They're extremely important. So, don't go chasing stocks. Make sure that you have some solid, strong support below you, and try to get as close as you can to that support. So if you're wrong the smallest, and if you're right the largest. And then number 3, always keep in mind how many positions you have, how much account heat you have, how many correlated, are your positions correlated? It's definitely something that you want to keep in mind. It's a good idea and a good policy to have diversifications among the holdings that the stock holdings that you have. All right. Then at the end of the day, I'm going to go down through those potential candidates. I'll try to narrow it down to 1 or maybe 2 at the most of the very, very best candidates that have the best confluence of signals, best risk to reward. And if I find something at the end of the day, I will go ahead and purchase it before the market closes. After the market closes, if anybody has any questions for me, please go ahead and type them in the chat. I'm happy to clarify. If there's any stock symbols you'd like me to look at before the close of the market, put them in the chat. I'll do my very best to get to them before the market closes. And then after the market closes, if you've had any changes, any new additions or subtractions to your current positions up on the board, please do me a favor. Wait till the end of the day and to tell me what they are. Then I'm done trading. Pressure's off. I'm done teaching. Market's closed, and we'll spend as much time as we need to get those updated correctly. All right. So that's the plan. Hang tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I'll be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and and or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, thanks for holding through that with me. Let's see who is here. Kamal is here. Hello, my friend. Always good to see Kamal. Always contributes so much to the channel. Thank you, Kamal. Appreciate you sending the results of the scanner each day. I hope you're having a good day. Bob is here. Hey, Bob. Good day to all. Hello, Bob. Good day to you. Thanks for coming. Johan is here. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Johan. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Dan says, happy Friday, Greg and Gossett group. Hello, Dan. Thank you. Frank says, hello, Greg and group. Hello, Mr. Frank. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, sir. Miko is here. Good afternoon, Greg and all. Hello, Miko. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Evan is here. Good afternoon, Evan. And David is here. Hi, Greg and group. Hello to David. All right. Wow. What a day. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, this is just the monster of monster days. But then again, we have gone down over the last few weeks. So, I'm not surprised to get some kind of a bounce. Okay. Let me check and see over here like so. All right, let's get started. Frank bought a half a position, Quad bought a position, Steve Burns bought a position, Kamal bought a position, Yas bought a position, and I did buy a position in AGQ, which is double leverage silver yesterday. We had a unique setup, an under 30, over 30. At the same time, we had an under 100, over 100. These are very rare setups. In my experience, they are good setups. I bought yesterday at 41.41. It is 41.29, so it is down a little bit on the day, but at least it's showing that the metals are holding a little bit. As long as it holds above this 200-day moving average, I will stay in the 100-day moving average, I will stay in the trade. If it closes below, I'll just go ahead and have to take a small loss. All right. SPY. SPY's on my naughty list today. I did buy SPY at the close yesterday. I sold it this morning. Why do I do that? I do this every day. This is based upon a long-term back-tested study from Liz Ann Saunders. She's at Bespoke Invest on Twitter since 1993. Two approaches. They tested two approaches, one buying the SPY at the open, holding it through the day, selling at the close. This approach returned a negative 13.9% return. The opposite, which is the one I do, buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk, sell it first thing the next morning. This approach gained a 634.2% return. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. That goes for any trading approach, but if I'm going to allocate money towards something, it's going to be towards something that does back test profitably, which this approach does. Blue lines, buy the close, sell the next morning. Orange lines, buy the morning, sell the same day close. Over time, the blue line has definitely outperformed the orange line, as you can see, dramatically. It's not even a contest. But there are significant drawdowns with this approach, and I have experienced them, and they're not fun. But this is just like me buying and holding the S&P, the SPY, the S&P 500, but instead of holding it through the day, holding it through the evening time based upon these statistics. So I did buy yesterday at the close at 323.50 and sold for a small loss here at 322.70. And then I sold almost the low, but that's how it goes. You can't get too frustrated with these trades. Sometimes it opens high, you get out and it comes crashing down. Other times you get out at the low and it goes zooming up, and that's what happened today. So small loss on this. I will be buying this again today at the close and holding it over the weekend. Zynga. Yas, Quad, and I bought Zynga, I think, is that all? Gary, Yas, and Quad, excuse me. We bought Zynga here at 836 with a V1 false breakout to the downside, under 30, over 30, bought it at 836. This has been a really nice trade. This particular day here went above 50 RSI and below 50 RSI, so I got out of half my position because it rejected a major level above, which is the 50 RSI, but I did keep half, which that's the reason I sell half. If I would have then had it close below the previous day's low, I would have gotten out of everything. I have moved further than 1.5 ATR from my entry. That means that I will be kicking into trailing stop mode. So if I get a close below the previous day's low here, I will exit the trade. Did hit one profit target today at 8.99. So far, this has been a really nice trade. Up from entry to exit, this is up 7%. So this has been a fantastic trade, and thanks to Kamal for the results on the scanner, because I would have never looked at this stock if it wasn't for that. So really, really nice. Okay, Amazon. So I do have a big position in Amazon. I did sell puts, which is a bullish trade. I sold puts down to the strike price of $2,300, meaning that if the price of the stock stays above $2,300 by November 20th, I will keep all the premium that I sold, that I received for selling this put. And it is a bullish play, so it's up nicely today, which is a good thing for me. I picked the $2,300 mark because I have support of the 200 and the 250 above me. On the weekly, I have the support of the 50-week moving average above me. On the monthly, I have support of the 20-month EMA and the 1 ATR channel. It doesn't mean, certainly doesn't mean that just because I have support on those multiple time frames with different moving averages that it can't go down there, but it helps, right? And I waited to sell these puts until we had a big move down so that I got a much, much higher premium. And currently, about, let's see, 28, yeah, about 43 or 44% of the premium that I'm going to get, I've already received. So this has been a really good trade. Apple. I did also sell puts on Apple, which is a bullish strategy. I sold puts on Apple down to, oh no, I think I accidentally erased 77.50. Okay, let's put them up here. All right, I did sell puts down to 77.50, meaning that if Apple stays above 77.50, it's 112 right now. If it stays above 77.50 by November 20th, I again will be able to keep all the premium that I received for selling the puts. The 77.50 has the 250 and the 200 above as support. On the weekly, it has the 50-day moving average as support. And on the monthly, the 20-month EMA and the 1 ATR channel, and the high, this previous high, which used to be resistance, now that should act as support. So again, those are all in the money. I haven't taken a lot of positions because the puts that I've sold on Apple and Amazon are pretty large positions, larger than I usually take. So that's why I have not had as many just directional trades. Okay, I did have a trade, an intraday trade on Apple today. Nice one too. Here we're above the 1 ATR channel. We pulled back into the value zone. We got some sideways motion. We had a false breakout to the downside, reverse back up. So we had a false breakout from here. I bought here when it triggered the V2. I bought it at 110.17. Initially went up my way nicely, pulled back down, held the 50 RSI. Had it not held the 50 RSI, I would have gotten out of half, but then took off nicely for a second leg up. Moved further than my 1.5 ATR level to start trailing the position. I did get out of the full position on this big drop down bar, so I did enter at 110.17 and I got out at 110.50. Then I did take a short on the Qs Because the double top, see the top here, see the top here, see how this top has high MACD bars here, green MACD bars. Then we pull back, we go red, we got up, we tested that high, but you see how even though we went right back up to the high, see how there's no green bars? That's called a double top with a bearish divergence. That's showing that the second move up did not quite have the momentum of the first one. I did short it here when we triggered a V1. Here's day one, here's day two. Day two went above day one. Triggered when it got to the close. I got filled at 269.02 for the short. Went down, went down, went down. Here it bounced right at the 50, so I decided to take half off here, 268 even. And because it moved more than 1.5 ATRs below my entry point, I went into trailing stop mode. This is a short position, so my trailing stop would be a close above the previous day's high. So I shorted here, 269.02, covered half at 268, covered half at 268.53. And that was the right time to get out of that short, because then this just took off like crazy. Okay, let me see. Well, let me take care of something here. All right. Now let's get over to your trades, see how they are doing. LVGO, Frank is having a good day. He bought it at 132.50 back on 9/22. He did sell half the next day at a profit, but he kept the second half, luckily, because it is up 6.94% today, Frank. So I know, I'm sure you wish you had the entire position, but I know for sure that you're glad you only sold half instead of all of it. Beautiful trade today. 60 RSI up 6.92%. Fantastic trade, Frank. Intel. All right. So we have Bob that bought Intel back here at 49.22 back on the 10th of August. Moved up beautifully, then came back down with the rest of the market. Nice trade today. Pretty good trade. False breakout to the downside. And I believe, oh, the V1 was yesterday. Yep, but up 2.22% today. So he's back in the money, which is fantastic. Gary sold puts on Intel expiring November 20th, the 45.40s. So as long as it stays above 45 by November 20th, Gary will be able to keep all the premium that he sold. Otherwise, if it goes down there, he'll have to get out of it and deal with the trade there, or he will be required to buy it at $45. But if you are selling puts, a nice big up day like today is what you want to see. All right. Cinna. Kamal and Quad bought Cinna yesterday at 40.47. I'd like this trade. I didn't take it, but I did like this trade. We had the sideways motion. We had a false breakout and reversal back up. Entered at 40.47. Today it is at 40.24, so it is down 0.54%. But it is holding the moving averages below it. Earlier in the day, it was below it. It is holding. That's good. It is holding halfway the washout bar. That is also good. And it is holding the 50 RSI. Google, David, Steve, and Gary did buy Google back here on 9/21 at 14.2186 with the bounce near the 30 RSI and the bounce off the 200-day moving average. Went up the next day. Next day we had that big down day in the market, but it did hold the 200-day. That would have been the level to get out with a close under. Remember, you know, the key with moving averages is it gives you a good construct. It gives you a good model to know where to get out quickly if you're wrong for a small loss, but to be able to enjoy a large move to the upside if you're right. And we have tested the 200-day 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 days in a row, which is a good sign that it's tested it and there were no sellers under there. So 1421.86 was the entry point, and is now 1443.83, up 1.4%. So congratulations, David. Congratulations, Steve Burns. And congratulations, Gary. Gary did not take a directional trade. He did again sell puts down to 1200, expiring November 20th, the 1150 puts. So what this means is that Gary will keep all the premium that he received for selling these puts as long as the price closes above 1150 by November 20th. And it's at 1442, so he has a lot of room there, which is fantastic. LVS, Gary, again, bought calls, November 20th, $50 strike calls on LVS, which is Las Vegas Sands Corp. It is up 2.57% today, up $1.18, $50 strike price. So it has to close above 50 in order for Gary to make money on this trade, but he still has until November 20th, but it's a good sign that it's up $1.20 today. ES, Brian bought ES back here on September 22nd at 129.37. Initially went up, then closed down. Yesterday was about break even, but Brian's having a nice day today, up $2.58, up 2%, up on the day and up on the trade. Shill, Bob bought Shill back here at 46.68. Initially went up, then we had a big dump sell-off. Glad to see this. This is up 9% today. Wow. I didn't even realize. I could see it's up, obviously, but I didn't realize it was up 9.16%. So very, very nice. Up 9% on the day, but still a little down on the trade. GDXJ, Yas bought GDXJ, which is the Junior Gold Miners ETF, bought it at 58.35. Sideways, went positive, but the GDXJ, with the metals came crashing down, along with the metals and the ETFs all came crashing down together. Is well off of its low today, down 26 cents, down 0.47%. So down on the trade and slightly down on the day. And lastly, Merck. Oh, this had a good comeback. Merck, let's see. Brian bought Merck yesterday at 83.28. It is now 82.96. So he is down on the trade here, and it is down on the day a little bit, well off the low. So all in all, some really good trades here, really good trades. So what I'm watching on AGQ here, my main focus today is whether or not this closes below the 100-day moving average. If it does, I will go ahead and just get out. Another option for a stop would be a close back under 30. It's a little too far for me. If sometimes you'll have two valid end of day stops. I usually pick the one that is closer, and the closer one would be a close under the 100. The 100 is 40.86. It's now 41.31. So it's hanging above there, and as long as it does, I will keep it. All right. Jason, hey Jason, how you doing? Oh, that's right, I did get a message from you. Good to see you. Thank goodness it's Friday to all. Yes, I'm glad it is Friday. And Jason, if you want to get that Skype call going, I sent you an email, and you can just reply and let me know what day or days work for you. Franks has a poem for us. Trading takes guts, but if you put too much on the line, it can easily drive you nuts. Trade within your means, stick to a solid routine, and always keep an eye on the green. Oh, that's nice. Let me copy this here. Let's try one more time. Trading takes guts, but if you put too much on the line, it can easily drive you nuts. Trade within your means, stick to a solid routine, and always keep an eye on the green. It can drive you nuts sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're never going to have a losing trade again when things are going well, and when things are not going well, sometimes you feel like you are never going to have a winning trade again, but you will have both of them. If you've been making money hand over fist, there will be a time when you're losing, and if you've been losing money hand over fist and it doesn't seem like you can make a dime, Stay positive. It will change. The markets always do. Hey, Steve Burns, good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for including me on your list on Twitter today. That's always kind of you. It's always an honor to have Steve Burns here with us in this live stream. It really is. I mean, Steve's such a great author, has such great courses, posts such great information on Twitter and Facebook every day to help us become better traders and investors. So always an honor, sir. Thank you so much for coming. Frank says, I also took advantage of the lower Apple price and lowered my cost. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? Okay. Let's do this once and for all. All right. So Frank bought a few more shares of Apple, lowered his cost to 111 even. Is that right? Hey, and now he's in the money. Fantastic, Frank. I'm glad for you. Apple's interesting here. You know, is it going to close over the 50-day moving average? It would be good. It would be a higher low close. Here was a lower low, got up here, failed. This is a higher low. Higher low close up above the 50-day moving average would be good. Also would be good if we could close above the 50 RSI as well. Brian says, hi everyone. Hi Steve. I enjoyed something you posted about this day in history. Would you mind letting the chat know what you said? I found it very funny and fitting for a Friday. Good to see you, Brian. Yes, says GDXJ. I did take profits along the way. Tiny core position left in the red though. Okay, so I still got you up there. Steve says, today in history on September 25th, 1926, Henry Ford announces the 8-hour, 5-day work week. People have been trying to get out of it ever since. And a little Ford symbol. Let's take a look at Ford. I haven't looked at Ford chart for decades. Oh, not so hot tamale. Not so hot tamale. All right, let me do a quick little checky check on everything. Okay. So listen, before we start taking a look at potential end of day trades, I just want to talk a little bit about trader psychology. In my opinion, it's really the most important part of your trading career is how you deal with your emotions, fear and greed. You know, I say this a lot, but you do have to learn about technicals, support, resistance, entry levels, exit levels. It is all important. It really is. But you learn this so that you can make a plan. And after you make a plan, whether or not you follow it is up to you and up to you how strong your emotions are one way or the other. This is a post from Steve Burns, the New Traders, Rich Traders channel on Facebook. It's a really good channel, so you should go there and apply. You have to apply to get into the group, but it's a really great channel. Steve Burns posts in there, Kamal's in there, Tom Basso's in there, I think Mark Minervini is in there, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm in there, but let's see what Steve has to say. And by the way, you know, I just mentioned that Steve posts good content for us every single day, and he really does. And this is an example of it. The longer you wait to stop your loss, the harder it is to eventually exit later. Man, I could riff on this for 2 hours straight. You know, I had a horrible loss, $100,000 loss initially, but at one point it was a $10,000 loss, and I thought to myself, "Oh, I don't want to take a $10,000 loss." Oh no, this was a bigger loss. This was sorry, I was thinking of another trade. There's been a couple, right? This was a bigger loss, but you know, I would have given anything to take that $10,000 loss because it turned into multiples of that. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I was stubborn-headed. Hey, I don't want to take a loss. If I sell it, I'll have to take a loss. I mean, what a joke is that, right? So the first loss you take on a trade is the easiest by far, everybody, by far. If you have some challenges with your personality, with your ego, that you don't want to take a loss, you've got to get over that, because the longer you wait to stop your loss, the harder it is to eventually exit later. You will eventually exit it, but it's going to be at a much higher loss. The first loss is the easiest loss. just go ahead and take it. I mean, I've had losses in my early 20s where the pain of me getting out and the stock going up, that was more painful to me. That thought was more painful to me than actually staying in the trade and having a larger loss. Can any of you relate to that? You're like, I know I'm going to sell it. I'm going to be the very low. It's going to go up without me. And I'm going to scream and yell. I'd rather just stay in, even if it goes back down. But, the bigger that loss gets, it's like gravity just not allowing you to get out. But you will eventually get out at a bigger loss. So the takeaway here, that first loss is easy. It's going to be small. It might sting a little bit at the moment, but if it's a small loss, you'll probably forget about it by the end of the day and certainly the next day. But, profitable trading equation, big wins, small losses are okay and allowed. You just cannot have the large losses. And how do you have large losses? You don't respect your stop. In my experience, anyone that's ever come to me with a big loss, the one thing I can look at always and say is, well, you were on the wrong side of the moving average. I'm writing a foreword for Steve's new book, which thank you very much for that, Steve. And I've been working hard on that, although, boy, I haven't written anything in a long time. It is one of the hardest things I've done. I hope I come through for you, Steve. I hope I do. But, I was writing in the foreword there that anyone that's ever shown me a big loss, or even if they don't show me a big loss and told me they've had a big loss, I already know what's happened. I was like, well, your position size too large, most likely. And I know you're on the wrong side of major moving averages. And it is true. So, if we get on the wrong side of a moving average, just take the loss, get on with it. But, I'm really sincere when I tell you about this. I have been through this. I have lived this, and I don't want anybody to have to deal with that. So thank you, Steve Burns. Really appreciate that. One last time, the longer you wait to stop your loss, the harder it is to eventually, that's the key word, exit later. So make it easier on yourself. Just get out with a small loss. Hey, Chris, good to see you, my friend. Chris says, Apple is very close to going long right now. It's making a nice green candle on mostly above the 9-day moving averages on the daily chart. Yeah, we just talked about that. So we are right there at it is a nice candle today, green candle. It is battling right now, right with the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average is 111.90. It's 111.90. How about that? So buyers and sellers are both coming in at this level. I do like that we went below the 50. We rallied back above. Not surprised this one failed, but now we have a higher low possible move back above the 50. If somebody told me I had to buy Apple today, I'd say, okay, I'm going to have to wait though until it closes over the 50-day moving average in order for me to do that. That's really a key line that a lot of people are looking at. Kamal says, Steve Burns, what is your stop loss on AGQ? Steve says, humans are naturally psychologically averse to taking losses and locking them in because it feels bad, but people enjoy locking in small profits because it feels good. That's true. Man, if we could just rewire our brains to be the opposite, have small losses feel good and have small wins feel bad. If we could just rewire, the difference between you making a lot of money and losing a lot of money is literally 1 inch apart or a half an inch apart on your trading console. The buy button and the sell button. Right there, right? But which one you choose is going to have a huge effect. And, trading is counterintuitive. So, what I like to say is when people have losses, they have a lot of hope. When people have gains, they have a lot of fear. But you really should switch those around. You should fear losses and you should hope when you have profits. Chris says, we'll have to see if it confirms for Apple on Monday. Okay. Steve says, my AGQ is a close below the previous day's lowest price. It shouldn't close there if it is really reversing off the lows. Okay, so let's take a look here. My AGQ stop loss is a close below the previous day's low price. Oh, so that would be here today, and it would be here in the future. So right now we're at 40.85, we're at 40.95. My stop is going to be this 100-day moving average, so we'll have to see. Dan says, I'm on chapter 3, Steve Burns, New Trader, Rich Trader. It's really good. I'm limiting myself to one chapter a day to ponder the message. Oh, good. Steve said, that is why new traders end up with large losses and small win. That causes them to be unprofitable. Right. Steve says, that is an excellent process, Dan. That is how I read books. How I read books to process them slowly and let them sink in. Hey, Gary M., good to see you, bud. Gary's having some good trades today, I've noticed. Okay. Well, we've got some things to look at, so let's take a look. Disney. Disney is on my list today. It does back test well with the close under the 200 and back over the 200. It is also forming a V2 here today, although day one bar is larger than one ATR. I give it a little bit of a pass because it also has an under 200 over 200. Right now it's at a 3076 RSI. My profit target would be up here, 50-day moving or 50 RSI or 50-day moving average. So this one is a possibility for me. Close under the 200 would be my end of day stop. DT. It's an interesting, I did want to mention on Disney, what I also like about Disney is on the weekly, we're back in the value zone. We have held halfway of this big up move here, and we're at 50.94. We have bounced off the 50-day. I like to analyze charts in 2 time frames. So this on the weekly, we went under 50, over 50. That's a good sign. We also held halfway of this washout bar here on the weekly. And then looking for an entry point would be the a close back over the 200-day. So this one is definitely a possibility for me today. DT. Pretty good. Pretty good. We did form a V2. Here's day 1, 2, 3. Oh, and by the way, if people want to look ahead to save time, here are all the possibilities for me today. And I'm sure you can see those in case you want to skip ahead and look at them yourself. So we have a V2 here. We have an under 50, over 50. We have RSI. We have an under 50-day moving average, over 50-day moving average. It looks like MACD might go positive. Let's switch over here to the week. Weekly's in the value zone, which is good, but the one thing that concerns me on Dynatrace here is that big down bar. I'm not saying we can't get up here. It's another 2 points or so to the upside, but I do feel if you switch over to the higher time frame that you are going to definitely have some resistance here. Maybe about, I guess, about $1.60 above. So that's one thing that does concern me a little bit. It is a higher low V2. We would still have to take out this high. That might be a little bit of a challenge, but all in all, pretty decent. So I'll keep that in the possibility section. WDAY Workday. Had a higher low V1 yesterday, is up 3% today, does have a 520 crossover. I did try to back test this, and I don't think I was able to. It wasn't in ETF replay, but 520 crossover, which is good. Higher low from here, it is good. We are above the 50-day moving average. MACD has not yet crossed on the weekly. It's a V1 on the weekly, which is good. We are about 1.5 ATR channel. This one's okay. I mean, it's definitely okay. FAS, deep dip by here, under 30, over 30, with a V2 under the negative third, over the negative third. Actually, I think it was a V1 yesterday. I'm a little concerned with this day 1 bar here. We got right about to the halfway point of that, and it got rejected. let's look over on the weekly. The weekly is, I would like it better if it bounced off the negative third or the -1 ATR channel on the weekly. But I mean, this one's okay. It's up 2.5%. It is a deep dip buy with the V1, V2 under 30, over 30, and back over the third ATR channel. But this negative third ATR channel, but this bar right here does concern me a little bit. So that's not one of my favorites. Team looks pretty good with the higher low V2. We're at 56.39 RSI. MACD is positive here. Let's go over to the weekly. The thing that concerns me on the weekly is this big down bar again. And you can see right about halfway, that's exactly where we got this week, and that's exactly where we stopped. So, I mean, I like it on the daily because MACD is positive and it has a higher low V2, and we're back over the 50 RSI. But what concerns me about this is on the weekly, we had the big down bar a few weeks ago and we rallied right into it. So I am going to also take that one off, for me at least. DHR. Well, we did make a high here. We came down, we made a lower high, but what I'm not seeing here is I don't see this washing out the previous day's low yet. I would, when I get a lower high situation, I like to see it wash out, and it doesn't look like that it washed out. Let's look over on the weekly. Weekly's up at this 2 ATR channel, so it's, you know, it's a bit high up there. Plenty of volume. I think I'm also going to let that one pass. WA all looks like it's under 30, over 30 with the V1 back up over the negative third ATR channel, but it's only 184,000 shares traded, which is below my limit. STN. I like this trade, but unfortunately it's 103,000 shares. That's it. I like that it rejected the 200-day twice, rejected the negative third ATR channel twice, back over the negative third ATR channel. I like it, but again, the volume is too low. Siri, XM radio, under 30, over 30. False breakout to the downside. Let's take a look at the weekly. I'd like it better if it was at that 1 ATR channel, at the negative third ATR channel. Up 0.59% today, but I think I'm going to also let that one go. There's a lot of good setups here, but I'm just trying to be picky. ADSK, which is Autodesk, has a false breakout to the downside with a V2. Got stopped there at the 1 ATR, or at the 100-day moving average. It's a 45.73 RSI. 500,000 shares is enough. Weekly V1 in the value zone, which is good. Monthly uptrend. Weekly in the value zone with the V1. And but I just don't see the clear trigger on the daily. Shopify, it's a higher low V2 under, it's 49.79. I'm going to have to watch that one to see if that closes. Let's look at the weekly real quick. Back in the value zone with the V2, so that's good. That's good. So that one's a possibility, but it would have to close above 50. IBKR, I do like this sideways motion. I like the rejection of the 200. I like the rejection of the 100. I like the V1, but it's only 131,000 shares, so that one it disqualifies it for me. SIBI, nice rejection of the 100-day, nice V1. but only 125,000 shares. Darn it. A lot of good setups with these ones with under 250,000 shares. SSNC Technology Holdings. It's false breakout to the downside with the V1, but the day one bar is too large. It's a 4860. Already looks like it rejected the 50 RSI, so that takes it off the table for me. CERN, nice V2. False breakout to the downside. But again, we've rejected the -1 ATR channel above. You have a lot of resistance here with this band of moving averages, the 510 or the 5100 and the 20, 100 and the 200. So no. MSI to V2, bounce off a 200-day, but this big down bar here concerns me. So I'm going to take that one off. So what that leaves here is Disney with an under 200, over 200, rejection of the -3rd ATR channel, and a V1. So this one definitely is a possibility. On the weekly, we are still holding the 50, so that one's fairly good. Stop would be a close under the 200-day moving average. DT. I think I'm going to let that one go because of that big bar there, so I'm going to have to put that one over. I liked that earlier the best, but I didn't analyze the weekly enough. Workday looks pretty strong above all the moving averages, above the 50-day moving average. On the weekly, it's okay. And then Shopify has a positive MACD crossover, but we got that 50 right there. I am inclined to choose between Disney and Workday. Let me take a quick look over at AGQ. Oh, I may have to get out of AGQ. It's holding right there, 40.86. So I'm going to have to watch that one pretty carefully at the end of the day. Hey, Mount Doji's here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for coming. Frank says, once again, I think I'll wait for a V8 on Disney. That's right. Not even with the V8. One day we were talking about Disney, and Frank said, I wouldn't buy Disney not with the V1 or a V2. I wouldn't even buy it with the V8, which I think was one of the all-time great comments on this channel. Yeah, UAL's pretty good here. I mean, it is a V2. It has that -1 ATR channel above their bob, which concerns me a little bit. It has that 50-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and it's a 44.76. Not a ton of volume. On the weekly, I mean, it's in the value zone, which is a good thing, but I don't think I would buy that, me personally. Kamal says Apple is above the 50 SMA now. Is it? $111.90, $111.96. That's a good sign. That's definitely a good sign. Higher low break above the 50 is good. Christus, careful on Disney. Okay. Yeah, as I was telling you before, when you look at a chart, when you look at so many charts, you kind of get a feeling. And I'm not quite getting the feeling on Disney. It is a V2. It is closed back above the 200. It looks like it's closing pretty strong. But I'm just not getting the feeling there. Workday, we've cleared this range, 520 crossover. They're starting to move apart. Honestly, To be honest with you, I think I'm not going to buy anything today other than my overnight SPY trade. I mean, Disney's okay. It does back test well. It does have numbers behind it with an under 200, over 200, and has a has a V2 also, which helps it out. But if you bought this, close below the 200-day. But I think I'm going to pass. And Workday, I think I'm also going to pass as well because I wasn't able to back test that with the crossover. But if I had to pick between Workday and Disney, I would probably pick Workday because we've cleared this range here. We have the moving averages below us as support. We're above the 50-day RSI or the 50 RSI and back above the 1 ATR channel here on the weekly. So I think I'm just going to enjoy the nice move I've had today on these stocks. And I think I'm just gonna take the overnight SPY trade today. All right, but I do have to pay attention to AGQ because it's right on the line for me. 40.85 is my stop. Right now it is 40.83. Amazon's a monster, doing really well. Apple's a monster, doing really well. Back up into the value zone, which is also good. I like Apple better than I like the Qs because Apple is above the 50 RSI, 50-day moving average, and we are not yet here on the Qs. So me personally, it looks like I'm going to have to get out of AGQ here with the close below the 100-day moving average unless it has a rally at the end of the day. But the two that I like the best that I'm not taking today, though, out of everything we've looked at would be Walt Disney with a close over the 200-day and a V2. And Workday cleared this range back above the 50 RSI. Let's take a look real quick at the volume. Not a lot of volume. One thing to watch out for here, everyone. Big move up today. Weak anemic volume on the Dow and on the S&P. The NASDAQ, weaker volume also. SPY, weaker volume so far. What's our friend's VIX doing today? Down 3%. That's not surprising. Kamal says, I may buy Apple and shop. Okay. Chris says, I think one more green candle for WDAY to confirm. Okay. Steve says, VIX can't stay over the 200-day moving average. Kamal says, Workday is 75% net profit, 31% drawdown, and 38% on the 520 EMA. Also, it does backtest profitably. Did the 520 happen today? Let's see, here it was 206.93, so yes, below. And yesterday, nope, we didn't. Yeah, today is the crossover. So, that is one more reason. It does have a 520 cross under and back over, which Kamal just put the stats up there, does back test well. So, I mean, that is a better sign. But again, I have such large positions in Amazon and Apple with puts that I think I'm just going to try to set a good example for you and also for myself and just be happy with what I have here. Key off of the AGQ, which right now it looks like I'm going to have to sell. It looks like we might rally strong into the close of the day. Apple's up $4.10. Wow. Boy, taught last night. I can feel my voice is tired today. Okay. So me personally, I'm just looking, it looks like the Qs are going to, or the Qs, AGQ is going to close below the 100-day moving average. So that is the stop that I determined before I took the trade. So we have about 2 minutes to go. Disney looks like it's closing strong. Workday looks like it's also closing strong. If I had to pick between the two, I would pick Workday based upon those results that Kamal just put in there. But not a lot of volume again, just not a lot of volume. That's one thing that concerns me a little bit. Had this big rally, but it's come on weak volume. Bill O'Neill teaches that, he wants to see volume twice as much to the upside as the volume to the downside. Apple looks like it's rallying strongly into the close. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead, get out of AGQ. And again, no new positions for me today other than taking this loss on AGQ. Well, that's not true. Other than buying the overnight SPY trade, which will kick in here in about 10 seconds. All right, that's it, everybody. The market is closed. The trading day is, or the trading week is finished. Decent week for me. I am grateful for that. I hope it was good for you. Listen, if you have any new additions or subtractions to the board today, this is the time. Put them in the chat and I will get them all updated. Before I do, just real quick, just want to remind everybody I do teach private lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I've had really good success with my clients. I have traded for over 24 years. I have studied one-on-one with some really great traders, authors, and mentors out there like Stephen Burns, Dr. Alexander Elder, Kerry Lavorne, and Larry Williams. And the course that I teach, I incorporate everything I've learned from these gentlemen plus my experience. And that's the course that I teach. It's 15 hours, 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. That's where you get the 15 hours. We do a lot of chart study. We do lots of lessons. There's a lot of interaction. I teach. I ask you a lot of questions. I have you teach it back to me so that I know that you really know it. We talk about trader psychology, position sizing, adjusting your position size based upon volatility, end of day stops, emergency stops, intermediate term profit targets, ultimate profit targets, profit phase out levels. And, I teach different approaches depending on whatever the market's doing. And they're all, everything is based in good trading principles. So if you are interested in taking the course with me, just reach out to me. You can send me an email. Email's in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. And if you do reach out to me, I'll reply, say, hey, thanks for saying hi. Thanks for dropping in on the podcast. Let's do a Skype call. The Skype call is free. There's no sales pressure. I'll never ask you whether or not you want to take the class or not. I just want to get to know you better, learn more about what you're looking for from a teacher, learn about your trading goals, your trading challenges, your experience, and then it's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course. All right. And when we're done, I'll just say, hey, thank you. Nice putting a face with the name. If you're interested, think about it. You can email me back later or in the future, and we'll set up the lessons. So, and then if you like today's podcast, I really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It helps build the channel, helps keep the channel around, lets YouTube know that there's some content on here that's valuable for people. All right. So, okay. Thanks for holding through that with me as always. Now, let's take a look. I only did buy the SPY today. At 328.73. Shoot. Let's see. Here we go. Back up here. 328.73. All right, that's my only position. New position today. Again, I did get out of AGQ today with a small loss, but it's a good example of looking for an entry, looking for support. Did not hold the support. Did hold the 30 RSI. That was another option, but I am out of this trade now with a small loss. Gary says, plus Disney for my son. Okay, sounds good. I hope that goes up for your son. And for you, Gary. Gary and son. How about that? Brian is out of Merck. All right, Brian. Glad to see you just take a small loss on that. NVTA at 43. 43.64. All right, that's Brian M. So it looks like you got a good fill on that. You're already nicely in the money. And LVGO at 135. All right, so it's always a little difficult when I have multiple entry prices. So I'm not going to put the price, Brian, but I am going to put your name. Otherwise it gets confusing, and then I always forget who was who and so forth and so on. So, but I did have an entry here. Frank got out half here, and then here day we'll put you on, Brian. All right. And you got in at 135.45. So you already 5 points in the money. Beautiful. Gary says, I hope I don't need a V8 for this. Kamal says, I am out of Cinna. You're in shop. All right. Oh, and Apple. All right. With the close above the 50. Excellent. and kept AGQ. Okay. So I've got Frank, Quad, Steve, Kamal, and Yas in AGQ. Yas is out of Zynga. Oh, it's been a good trade. Gary says, have a great weekend, Greg and group. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. Hope you have a good weekend as well. Johan says, enjoy your weekend, everyone. Thank you so much, Johan. That's kind of you. Hope you have a good weekend also in Hong Kong. Boy, what a day. What a day today. Apple was just a monster. Just a monster today. All right. Bob is in TYTY. Huh. I try to put TYTY in Bob and it doesn't pull it up for me. Can you double check on the symbol to make sure that's what it is? Because on my charts that doesn't pull up TYTY. So I'm not able to put it up for you. Miko, thanks, Greg. Have a great weekend, everyone. You too, sir. Nice seeing you. Hope you and the family are doing well. TVTY. Okay. TVTY. That makes more sense. $13.65. Already in the money. Nice. All right. We're good to go. So this left me with the overnight SPY trade, the Zynga directional trade, the Amazon puts that I sold, and the Apple puts that I sold. And I don't have anything to do with Qs here, so. So that's that. Okay. If anybody has any other questions or they have any new entries or exits they want me to put up on the board, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go on a hike. It's a beautiful day out there, and then I'm going to come home, finish reading Steve's book manuscript that he sent me, and do my very best to try to write a decent foreword. I'm going to do my best. The effort is there. I hope it comes out okay. I really do. But I appreciate Steve giving me the opportunity to write that forward. That's very kind of him. Frank says, I'm thinking about taking the overnight SPY trade on a monthly basis. Do you mean doing it for taking the overnight SPY trade each day for a month, Frank? Or do you mean buying at the close of the month and selling it at the open of the next month? Kamal says, question for you, Greg. What is wrong with my setup? Shop and Apple needs some negative analysis. Oh, you want negative analysis? Well, I've always got some of that. Well, look, I mean, Shop's decent. I mean, look, it's a higher low V2. It did close above the 50-day moving average, which is good. You have a nice confluence of support of the -1 ATR channel that dovetails pretty much right with where your stop is going to be. MACD crossed over. That's good. On the weekly V2, that's good. The more I look at this, the more I probably like it the best. I mean, I think one of the main reasons, Kamal, that I didn't take anything today was, again, because of my large positions. But I think when I was looking at Shopify earlier, it was under 50. And I think that is one reason why it didn't catch my eye, because it was so close to the 50. I'm not sure if it already rejected the 50 and came back down. If it did, then I definitely would have discarded it. But where it is right here, where you got it, back over the 20. So I can't really say anything bad about that. And it took out this previous high. So I think earlier when I looked at it, it had not done that. So I think it's good. I mean, there's really not much I can say bad about this Shopify trade. Apple. The thing on Apple is, yes, it did close above the 50. It closed back up into the value zone, which is good, but we're so close to the 50 RSI. That's my only consideration right there. But I think I like Shop better than Apple, to be honest with you, because Shopify had the MACD crossover. In hindsight now, where this closes, this was probably the best trade of the day, I think. So I can't give you a whole lot. The only thing on Apple, so close to the 50 RSI. Hope that helps, Kamal. Dan says, thank you, Greg and group. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you coming. Have a good weekend. Frank says, once a month. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting approach. Last day of the month and sell it on the first day of the new month. What's your thinking behind that, Frank? I mean, I understand the process, but where do you think the edge lies in that approach? Bob says, what is your thoughts on TYTV? I didn't mention because with low volume, I knew you would not like it. When I first looked at this, what first ran through my thought was, he's playing off of the 200-day moving average, which is good. So you have strong support underneath you. At the very least, you have a marker below you. You have a guidepost. If it were me, I would get out with a close under the 200-day moving average. Also, we had this big up bar here. We came back down underneath it and then closed back. Looks like above the 50% mark. So not too bad. When I first looked at it, I was kind of proud of you, Bob, because I was like, oh yeah, look, he's taking it over the 200-day moving average, giving him a very quick loss if he's wrong with the close below the 200. Let's look over on the weekly. Weekly's in the value zone. That's good. Much better than buying up here, right? Better to buy in the value zone always. Kamal says, cool. Thank you, Greg. Have a good weekend. Frank says the stock market almanac gives it good odds. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let us know if you do it. Let us know how it works out. I hope it works out for you, but it's always good to have some kind of data to make decisions like that. But yeah, let us know if you're gonna use that, and we'll track it. Okay. Well, listen, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Hope you're safe. Hope you have a good time. Hope you study up, maybe read some trading books, maybe take a look at your charts. Please try to do something nice for somebody today and every day. Just a smile, a wave, hello, a kind gesture really could make a difference in somebody's day. And if everybody did that every day, it would make a big difference around the world. And if you could also do something nice for an animal each day, that would be doubly as good, because animals appreciate gestures and pets and walks, and if you throw the ball, and why not, right? Why not? So, all right, well, I appreciate you coming and spending your time here this week with me. And it was a pretty good week, all in all, everything considered. So I'm grateful for that. And Bob says, nice weekend, everyone. Thank you, Bob. And I hope everybody does well with their trades today. Looks like everybody had a pretty decent day today. So thanks again. Have a good weekend. And hopefully we'll see you Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation, and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity.